All right, y'all. This is the first episode of Wins Above Replacement podcast. These are your hosts, Ben, myself, and Dion. We're going to be discussing kind of what, we're a week into the NBA season, and we're going to see what we come up with as far as discussion goes. Talk about a couple of surprising teams and players, and see if we can find some trends for fantasy and whatnot to see if we can get an edge a little bit for the next coming week. So, kind of we're a weekend. What do you think the biggest surprises so far, as far as observations of the NBA season go?
Like for me, the West, everybody has a loss in the West. There's not a team that's 3-0. Whereas if you look on the East, you got 4 teams that are 3-0. And to be honest with you, it's not anyone that you would really expect. You got the Cavs, Magic, Indiana, and Atlanta are all 3-0.
Yeah, those traditional powerhouses.
Yeah. Brooklyn, you don't have Brooklyn up there. You don't have Miami. They're not far behind. Like I said, it's 3 games, so it's kind of, real early to jump in and start looking at stuff. But even so, I mean, you got, to me, in Indiana, they've had 2 at home. 2 of their 3 games have been at home. They've beaten New York, Chicago, and Boston. But hey, they were without Warren to begin the season. Sabonis, man, it seems like every year he's just continuing to get better and better. And Atlanta, I don't know. On the fantasy side of things, it still seems like Atlanta's the team that the apps want you to attack. Last year, you remember whoever was playing Atlanta, those guys were always on the list of who to play. And it seems like that trend started earlier this season. And I think it's going to change though, because their pace is high though, because they're the number 1 scoring team in the league after 3 games. They're the number 1 scoring team. Defensively, they're only 14th, so it's not like they're not horrible, but the pace there is there. I mean, they're going to score points, so you got to keep up with them. So I guess I can see that's why they're wanting to do that. But yeah, like I said, the Cavs, Magic, Pacers, and Hawks, all 4 of those teams 3-0. That's kind of surprising to me. I mean,
I think too, being 3-0 last year, the pace was high, but no one expected them to win any games. Right. They're really just a fun, fast running team for 3.5 quarters, but they were going to lose at the end of the day. Adding Rondo can maybe get you some fourth quarter defense. They got Bog from Sacramento. They got Gallo from OKC. Capella is from that trade with Houston last year, is kind of finally coming through. So that's, if Rondo's coming off the bench, the starting 5 is really going to be Collins, Trae Young, Bog, Gallo, and Capella, which, I mean, on paper, that's going to be a, top 5 team in the East.
Yeah, absolutely.
They should compete. But, get some of that veteran leadership with Rondo coming in. Who's the Hawks?
Huge. Someone like that's huge. Yeah.
Yeah. Who's the Hawks coach right now?
I'm not sure who they're coaching.
I don't even know either. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
I'm gonna guess Montgomery. Maybe Mike Montgomery. Is he still the coach, or did he get fired? I don't know.
Who knows? Yeah. So let me ask you this here. Okay. Now, is this kind of coincidence? I mean, there was a quick turnaround this year, obviously, from when the season ended to now. None of these teams were in the bubble. So is that an advantage to a lot of these teams? That these guys have been off since March, right? Where some of the other teams, LeBron and all these other teams were playing late into the season. It's just 2 months.
Indiana was in the bubble. Indiana was in the
bubble. You're Indiana because Warren was like the bubble.
He's like bubble king. MVPs. Yeah.
You're right. So they were right in the bubble.
Real quick, the Hawks coach Lloyd Pierce. We got it. First bit of trivia. Whoever Lloyd Pierce is, we're gonna look you up, Lloyd. I'm gonna learn about you.
Where you come from? We're gonna find out about him. We're gonna find out more about him. But hey, you got a young star in Trae Young, who's obviously gotten better and better each year as the season's, since his rookie year. He's just continuing getting better and better. And hey, he can be a long time All-Star.
I think Trae Young, people are going to go back to that Luka trade and always judge him against that. But, I think over time he's going to be one of those guys where he might not be Luka, 10-time All-Star, but he might be a 5-time, 6-time All-Star. You know what I mean?
Right.
Carmelo is never going to be D Wade or LeBron, but Carmelo ain't no slouch either.
Yeah, he's still got some in him. He's still got some miles left on those tires there.
But I think Cleveland really, if you got a surprised, Orlando made the playoffs last year. Indiana, they made the playoffs last year. Atlanta, they added so many pieces, you'd expect them to be better. But Cleveland, what did they really do?
Yeah, no, honestly, Drummond
just kind of grew up. That's really all they did. Sexton, Garland, they got older, they got better. Drummond started playing a little bit more. Nance kept. They're not. That's not a team of stars, but early on, they're scoring a lot of points, playing decent defense.
They're third in points per game, 10th in opponents' points per game. So they're taking care of it on both sides of the court, really. They beat Charlotte, Detroit, and Philly. It was last night they beat Philly. They're playing really good ball right now.
And Philly's supposed to be a top 5-6 team in the East. Doc Rivers coming over.
You expect them to see them in the end. Yeah, they're 2-1. Their losses was to the Cavs, but it's these early teams that jump, and that's the key for these young teams. You want to give your fan base some hope, give them something to cheer for, give them because once we get a little later in the season, are they going to be able to hold it up? Who knows? But hey, early in the season, everybody has a chance, right?
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like the Cavs or the Hawks, if they get out to like let's say 8-3, that's kind of realistic after you start 3-0. If they're 8-3 through their first 11 games, that might translate into a 45-win season, get you a 6, 7, 8 seed, and take a step
in the
up.
East, absolutely, in the East, but you got your Milwaukee, your Brooklyn, your Miami, but after those three, really,
Boston. I put Boston right there.
Boston,
right there.
It's just you're right, but so you got 4 spots that are kind of there for the taking, really. Anybody. You could really make a case for anyone. Washington's up 3 right now. What are they going to do? With Brody now,
Westbrook
that's going to change. But early on, hey, jump out an early lead, win some games early on in the season, and see what happens later on down the stretch. That's all you can really do.
What about the surprise in the West? What do you think?
All right. In the West, Phoenix really. I'm curious to see them. Can they keep it up? Obviously, they got the addition of Chris Paul is huge. Guy, everywhere he's gone, he's won. You hear a lot of bad stuff about him and whatnot, but sometimes I wonder if that's just not just media hype stuff that you're hearing from the media, because everywhere he goes, everyone seems to like him. They don't want him. He's jumping around from team to team, but he's winning everywhere he goes, and you need that, especially when you have someone like Booker. That's going to be huge for Booker. I think he's missing that guy that can help someone, a veteran there to help him and make him a better professional and a better player overall.
And you go back to even back to Charlotte or New Orleans Hornets, my bad, but he had David West was a really good big, and then you got to the Clippers and they had Blake and DJ, and you got Ayton now as a young big man.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think Chris Paul could feed him inside, get him going on some lobs, couple easy dunks, and get him going. And Ayton, for a big man, he's kind of lost in today's NBA. There's not really any big traditional centers, but he could be that guy.
Right.
And if they need to go slow, they can go half court with him. Booker can spread the floor. They got a couple of guards over there. They got Cam Johnson's a really good young forward. Bridges the other night really exploded.
Yep.
There's potential there, and the bench isn't the best, but again, they got Carter coming off the bench.
Yeah.
A couple key pieces to run in the West. The thing about the West was, 1 through 8 last year was so stacked. Who drops off? And it's sad to say, because I'm a Houston Rockets fan, it could be us just because of dysfunction, not talent. We got talent, but dysfunction, a brand new coach. I could see us being a 9th or 10th seed by the end of the year, especially if Harden gets traded. If he stays the whole year, it'd be hard to miss the playoffs, but I could also see us being an 8th seed.
Yeah. Well, and you guys haven't got Wall in there yet. You guys haven't got Wall, and that's going to add a whole. It's going to open up so much more for Harden. And right now it's just him really. And Wood's been doing amazing down. I think it's a perfect place for him, perfect spot for him. He's just tearing it up. He's taking total advantage of, of being on the Rockets. And we saw bits and pieces of it last year in Detroit. We're like, where'd this guy come from? And then all of a sudden you're like, this guy's pretty good. He's a good ball player. And early on this season, he's tearing it up.
Yeah, I've watched a couple of Houston games, and I'll tell you this about Wood. I think I mentioned it earlier, just in private conversation. But if you just looked at a shot chart and the stats, you would think he's Anthony Davis. Like,
oh, absolutely.
Honestly,
absolutely.
He plays the same way. He's really long, athletic, shooting threes, grabbing boards.
Yep.
He creates his own shot on the post. He's really underrated, but again, like you said, perfect. Harden spreads the floor so much and demands so much attention.
Yep.
It reminds me a little bit about when Steve Nash had Stoudemire.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
They just look alike. Stoudemire, Davis, those big athletic, stretch fours. And we got him on the cheap. And I think the contract is 4 years or something, $60 million.
How did he come? Was it a trade? Where did that?
It was a free agent. Yeah, it was just a free agent signing. Yeah. What happened was Detroit, they signed Grant and Plumlee, and they still have Blake Griffin. So they had a big logjam up there in the front court. So basically, they just had to get rid of the young talent. They got rid of Drummond last year in midseason. So, trying to free up some space there. But,
that was a great pickup,
Yeah, but seeing Grant leave the Nuggets and go in there, you can see the Nuggets have a little bit of some hole in their front court now.
They do.
And JaMychal Green was supposed to do some of it, but I mean, you've watched the Nuggets games this year. What do you think the biggest need is right now?
Defense. I mean, just like it seems like it's always been defense. Porter, he's still a young guy, and you expect him. He's mentioned that's his goal. He wants to be a better defender, a more complete all-around player. And look, is it going to happen? Eventually, I guess it'll happen. It has to happen, but he's too good for it not to. But it's not something that's going to come overnight. So in the meantime, someone like Jeremy Grant was huge, to have, and then Torrey Craig. I mean, that's a lot of length and a lot of great defense. You just took off the Nuggets roster, and bring in JaMychal and who else? Hartenstein we brought in and to replace Plumlee, which offensively
give you some backup minutes.
Yeah, he gives some backup minutes, but I feel like the reason they let Jeremy Grant leave, and he was wanting to leave, is because he saw the writing on the wall. He knows that Millsap's still going to get his minutes. He's still going to get, he's still going to get his time out on the floor. Porter, he's going to be out there starting soon. He's been starting a lot of games this year. He started the first three. Did he start all three?
The thing is that there's still that contention with Barton. What do we do with Barton? Is he a 2? Is he a 3? If we go small, sometimes they'll go small a little bit with Paul Millsap in there. But then who guards the bigs? That's where MPJ gets really just manhandled.
Right. Absolutely. We saw it with against the Clippers with Paul George. I mean, man, Paul George hit
too strong
6 straight shots before they finally moved him off him. Like, it's just unbelievable. But yeah, that's something that definitely their defense is going to be. They're going to have to outscore teams. Period. Now I do like what I've seen out of Jokic so far this season. Seems like he's more aggressive, more. Heck, he's leading the league in assists, 14 assists a game. He's averaging 14 assists a game. That's never been an issue, but with scoring, he's almost averaging a triple-double right now. And the key with him is, can he stay out of foul trouble? That's always been a thing with him. He has those stupid frustration fouls, and you see it all the time, the silly frustration fouls that end up getting him in foul trouble, and then he has to sit for long periods of time. And like I said, I'm still on the fence. I'm still trying to figure it out. Part of me going into the season felt like the Nuggets were a better team than they were last year, as is. But I'm not so sure. Clippers, I was really impressed with what I saw from the Clippers. Obviously the Lakers will be there. Utah's good again. Portland, they're scrappy all the time. And Sacramento's another one of the surprise teams for me. I mean, they're a young team. You know, there was rumors early on that the Nuggets were trying to get Buddy Hield, and I thought that was a great pickup. That's, you know, I don't know if he's not happy there or what the deal is, but you know that.
Yeah, I mean, they're really missing some floor spacers out there that can really. Yeah. After Jamal Murray, who else is going to hit you a shot? You know, maybe MPJ turns into that.
Right.
You know, but he can't get that many minutes if he ain't playing defense.
Absolutely.
You know? That's
Absolutely.
that's part of it. You know, another team that I was impressed with last year in the bubble, playing that Clippers series was the Mavericks.
Yeah.
You know, and they start off slow this year, but they did get a little bit of a 50-point, giant kind of aberration. No one wins by 50 points in the NBA. It was a record, but they got their first win.
It's not like it was, it wasn't playing the Bulls or some bottom.
Yeah.
It was the Clippers. Yeah, no, absolutely. Dallas, they're missing, Porzingis. I heard in 2 weeks he should join the team. That's big, that'll be big. So it'll be a lot better for them once they get him back. He has just, can he stay healthy? I mean, the guy just in the last couple of years just seems like he's just an injury waiting to happen. And it's sad and frustrating for them, especially because he's such a dominant player. He's a great player, and put him and Luka together, man. And it could be scary. I'm kind of curious to see how as the season goes on,
They got a sneaky pickup. One of our favorite players traditionally, whenever he gets minutes, is Jay Rich. You know what I mean? That guy plays four positions.
Absolutely.
He's almost like a poor man's LeBron James. If he gets minutes, he's going to get you 10 points, 7 rebounds, 6 assists, 2 steals. And it's going to be quiet, but he just does everything. And I think he was underrated. Yeah. That was a good trade for them. I think they gave up Seth Curry, which was a little bit of a floor spacer, good shooter, but that's all he does, one-dimensional guy. But not having Porzingis, I think Jay Rich is going to help. Powell's back is healthy. They got Cauley Stein coming off the bench. They got some decent talent.
Hardaway's there. Hardaway can score.
Hardaway can score for sure. He never takes a shot.
My only question with as far as Richardson goes, and you hate to, I hate to, categorize guys a certain way, but to me, I feel like he's like Barton. He's better off the bench. He's better when he could come out and be the scorer. To me, like Lou Williams, Karis LeVert is another one that I feel is better off the bench. I mean, and a lot of those guys are all like a lot of the same type of players that can give you instant offense. And I just feel like they're better with the second unit where they can be the sole focal point. Because for whatever reason, especially in Barton's case, Barton, I don't know who Barton thinks he is, but that guy,
he's a ball stopper, really. He's like
he really is.
He just gets the ball in his hands and never passes.
Absolutely. And so, but yeah, I mean, be curious to see if they keep Richardson starting or as the season goes on, if they, transition it back once Porzingis comes back. But really, who are the other options though? You got James Johnson. I mean, come on.
Yeah, it's not going to do a lot. It's not moving the needle too much over there.
Trey Burke. Yeah. Brunson. Cleaver.
Yeah, I mean, Jalen Brunson does get you some good minutes as a backup point guard, though. I mean, I will say he's improved.
He does. Yeah.
Mark Cuban is going to make more moves. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
I can't see him just sitting there, especially if they're a 4, 5, 6 seed and they're trying to get better position in the West. I think he'll go out and try to get someone, make a move a little bit.
I agree. It'll start getting more interesting here. Like I said, I'm excited once the new year comes. Things will start settling a little better. No time to panic. Golden State, for instance, I mean, they just look like, without Clay, it's just it's like they're hard to watch for me. I mean, it's like you want to see the old Warriors when you watch them play, but they're not the old Warriors, And to be honest with you, I feel like early on, Steph is kind of trying to get more people involved he needs to be a little more selfish, if you ask me, and take more shots and say, you know what, hey, it is what it is, and I am who I am, and I'm gonna take these shots because I just feel like he's trying a little too hard to keep people involved. And hey, you are who you are. You know, you don't have Clay right there to kick it. You don't have KD there anymore. So, you know,
it's one of those things too. I mean, you talked about those kind of tweener guys. You know, Wiggins is kind of that guy for that team. You know, if Wiggins was coming off the bench, you know, he probably would be a 19-point scorer. But you know, he doesn't do good with the ones. I don't know if it's just not having the ball in his hands enough, and maybe not being as active as he needs to be. But you know, going back to that formula of ball movement, Draymond was kind of that power point forward. You know,
no, absolutely.
And not having that ball movement and not having those floor spacers there to knock down some jumpers. Some of those young guys are coming up. You know, Damian Lee. I think he's a good shooter.
They got Wiseman's young.
Yeah, Wiseman's coming. Yeah, I mean, there's some talent there, but you know, if there's no ball movement, it just turns into a jump shooting team with no inside presence, and you just get buried. Especially in the West, there's too much talent there.
Too much talent out West. Yeah.
If you can't run with them and you can't play the game that Steve Kerr wants you to play, it's just going to be a long night every night. And,
absolutely.
You know, a little bit of a clown on Steph Curry's new shoes. I don't like them very much. You know, they look a little bit too generic to me. They don't look like they have premium materials even, but maybe they're comfortable. You know what I mean? They almost look like a Sketcher. So
yeah. And speaking of shoes, did you hear that about Kobe? That's supposedly before he passed away, he wasn't happy with Nike and he was going to launch his own. And so I wonder if they're going to follow through with that.
You know what? That could have been big time. And you know, a lot of people was clowning on LeVar Ball when he tried doing it, you know, with Big Baller brand. But, you know, I can't help but think that was a little bit of inspiration for some of these other people to say,
no, absolutely.
Why not try? I saw an article a few weeks back where Shaq was talking about when he left Reebok, you know, $100 million contract. He launched his own shoes. You know, he sold like 500 million pairs of sneakers. I may get that wrong, internet.
Yeah.
Whenever someone sees this, don't look it up and correct me. Or maybe you do correct me. That means someone's at least listening.
Yeah, let us know.
But you know, he sold 500 million sneakers or whatever the big number was for $30 a piece to kids who might not be able to get a brand name sneaker.
No, absolutely. They were
no shame in that.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
But I could have saw Kobe making a Mamba brand and it going well. I saw an article this morning. You know, we're both kind of sneakerheads on the lowdown, and Master P and Baron Davis want to buy Reebok off of Adidas.
Yes, I saw that. Yeah.
And he said he wants to make Allen Iverson more of a brand pioneer, more of the Jordan of Reebok. And you know, they have some pretty decent athletes worldwide. You know, soccer and JJ Watt from football and a couple other people. But I could see, you know, being a Black-owned business, a minority-owned business, you know, trying to build up a brand and get some of those athletes in there and get creative.
Absolutely.
You know, what does Reebok have to lose?
A lot of money to be made there, you know?
Yeah, Reebok's kind of on the downturn. Adidas bottom out. And, you know, but there's room there for some growth. And, you know, like I said, you can attract some of those young people. You know, Puma, they're trying to get back in the basketball game. They got them really good.
Puma, you know, New Balance, you know, with Kawhi, and then Jamal Murray just left Adidas to go to New Balance. So,
there's a lot of room in the. But right now, you know, there's two sets of the sneakerheads. There's that performance, you know, basketball set, and then there's the streetwear fashion set. Who says, what kind of colorway can I get? You know, I really like those Kawhis, but can I get them in, like, you know, bright fuchsia, green, and purple, you know? Or,
those are definitely,
There's a lot of collaborations out there, you know, Nike and Supreme, or, you know, a lot of people doing.
It was, you know, back in our days, you tried to match your shoes with your team's colors, and nowadays it's like, that's out the window. It's almost like, how loud can you get, you know? And I mean, you see it all the time, you know? I mean, Jamal Murray wearing bright green shoes, and you're like, but
you know, I think Adam Silver, you know, we can do a whole podcast or a whole week's worth of podcast on how much I love that guy and the way he thinks as a commissioner. But, you know, give it up to him, because he saw that was coming, and he changed the rules and said your shoes don't have to match your uniform anymore.
Yep. No, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. I watched a really good miniature documentary online about Tinker Hatfield and how he worked with Jordan around those first couple of Jordan pairs with Nike. And and there's always that famous banned shoe, the red and black shoe, right? I mean, it was banned at the time, and it made it more famous from David Stern. You gave it more press, and not that Michael Jordan needs it now, but back then, as a young kid coming in with a new shoe that cost $100, like that was a really cool thing.
Exactly. If they're talking about you, good or bad, it's going to help you out, no doubt. Absolutely.
But shout out to that documentary. If I find the link, I'll post it up. But that Tinker Hatfield documentary, man, that guy is a shoe genius. Everybody knows that. I don't got to say anymore, But the way he launched Jordan Brand, you need to watch that video. It's worth a watch for sure. But back to the current game. Again, I love all these shoes that we're seeing. I love some of these new jerseys that have come out. The Utah jersey they wore last night. That bright, desert sandscape kind of a vibe. Denver has one. The new cityscape jerseys are out there.
Brooklyn with the, BKLYN. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a lot of really, fashion for. It's kind of a tough time to be our age now, right? I mean, we used to be in high school and we'd have all the jerseys, man. Laced out, right? But absolutely. Now, you're getting into your late 30s, 40s, and it's like I'll put a jersey on for game day.
For game day, but I ain't wearing it on the absolutely.
I ain't going to Target or whatever and putting my jersey on just to walk around. But, there's other ways.
With shoes. For me, I'm the same way with shoes. I mean, I love the loud colors and different and all that stuff, but unless that shoe is going to match something that I already wear, I'm probably not going to be picking that up. But like I said, for the youngsters, my kids, they don't care. I mean, they want what they want. They look for the loud colors, different, and that's
But the NBA marketing side of it, they're doing a good job. Those new jerseys. Something we're going to probably do a little bit more is look at some of those redesigns and a little bit more closer, at a later date. But just a lot of things to be excited for. It feels like the NBA season just ended because it kind of literally did. Lakers were winning up that championship trophy a couple of seems like weeks ago, and we're already back at it again. But I know NBA and other fans out there. Christmas wouldn't have been Christmas without the NBA on. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
It's a tradition. It's just
it really is.
Music.
From 10 o'clock all the way till the end of the night, games all day long. It was beautiful. Matter of fact, I obviously like most people, football is always right there at the top, of a must watch. But I mean, I glanced at the football game on Christmas Day, but I was more interested in basketball all day. My eyes were on basketball.
And they got to be smart because, Thanksgiving, you got 2-3 football games. That's what you think about for Thanksgiving. But the NBA totally locked down on Christmas. That's what we, it's just a tradition. Like I said, my family's into it. We watch the games, eat meal. You have a little bit of fun with your friends and family. This year was a little different. A little bit more low key, but still a lot of fun to watch those games. And
absolutely.
Moving forward, again, we got a lot of games to look forward to. Speaking of that, what are some games that catches your eyes coming up the rest of the week? I mean, what are you looking at as far as the schedule goes? I mean, tonight's a big slate, but there's some pretty key matchups the rest of the week as well.
Yeah, there's a lot of big games coming up tonight. You got the Nuggets get their rematch with Sacramento, right? And then Milwaukee, Miami, they're playing tonight as well. But going on in this here.
And Jimmy Butler's out. That's kind of sad to have Jimmy Butler out in that rematch, but it's going to be a good battle anyway. I mean, Spoelstra, if I was building a team and I had to build a coach and get the coach that I wanted to build a team, it would be probably Coach Spo. You know what I mean? Like,
absolutely,
he's just that good of a coach. But we got a lot of big. Like you said, that's a big matchup tonight. Who else you got for tonight as far as things you're looking forward to?
Boston, Indiana. I mean, I want to see Indiana. They played them last night, and they play them. That's one thing I noticed a lot. There's a lot of road doubleheaders. Like Lakers got Memphis 2 days on Sunday the 3rd and Tuesday the 5th. There's been a lot of that going on. Orlando, they just played the Wizards twice in Washington. And now we got the Lakers got Memphis coming up twice, and they also are on the road at San Antonio twice. So it seems like they put a lot of the back to, usually you've seen the road and home double headers, but it seems like I haven't seen this in years past, really, where you're playing on the road twice against the same team. It happened quite a bit. Lakers, for instance, got San Antonio coming up, and they got Memphis, like I mentioned. But then they'll go play San Antonio again and Chicago at home. Then they'll go hit Houston for back-to-back at Houston. So that's kind of interesting. So yeah, there's gonna be some interesting games coming up. Lakers in Houston in a couple weeks. They don't play the Clippers again for a while, but the Lakers do have a 4-game road trip coming up. So
yeah, I mean, defending champs
on the road. Yeah.
I mean, and just looking up, I looked the schedule up. I mean, New Year's Eve, we talked about Christmas kind of being that, but New Year's Eve is a Thursday night. Typically, you got 2-3 good games on TNT, but I mean, the whole day is full with games that night. And something I'm looking forward to probably early on in the evening is going to be the Suns Jazz game. Going to be on, that's going to be just a test to see kind of where the Suns are and the Jazz as well.
And the Suns have a quick turnaround, and they'll play on New Year's Day as well against. They'll be in Denver, so kind of look interesting to see how they are on back-to-back there.
Yeah, that COVID travel is legit, but also one thing that I noticed, and I know you in preparation for the show today, you brought up a couple scoring kind of variances that you saw that were kind of concerning. But one thing I noticed, that the NBA eased the rules about sitting stars
absolutely
on home games and also TV games that are going to be on national televised. But we saw it happen last night with a home game for the Nets. They sat Kyrie and KD, and Ja Morant got hurt, but the Nets bench, LeVert, those guys showed up. They played really good.
And without Dinwiddie as well, too. So
Dinwiddie's injury, that's a big deal. He's a former Buff. We always try to, we're Colorado guys for people out there, and we follow, the Buffs for sure. But he's one of those. He was another one of those guys who could do any. I mean, he could start at point guard. He could start at the 2, maybe play a little 3. But he's just a hard-working guy, and he fit in really well with that team. But they're going to be a lot thinner. But and there's no way in years past with fans in the stadiums that they sit 2 all-star level guys at a home team.
And that's what I was going to say is the rules are probably more for the national broadcast games right now. Are fans going to be let back in? When will they be let back in? How many? We don't know. I really, it's hard to say what they're going to do. So as another one, Atlanta started off, 3-0. They got 2 back-to-back road games at Brooklyn coming up. I want to see that. That starts New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. They play New Year's Eve and New Year's Day against Brooklyn, so that's going to be interesting to see. And then you got a battle of the powerhouses on the second, Cleveland versus Atlanta, huh? How about that?
Hey, it might be 2 4-0 teams or something. Who knows?
Yeah, it could be. Could be.
The young season is here, and a lot of people have hope. And that's one good thing about a new season starting off is that no one's in the lottery yet. No one is starting to tank yet. They're going to see where it goes. And the only people that I think are starting to tank is Chicago. You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm just playing. I don't even know, but it just seems like they can't catch a break, and they just never really are competitive. So sorry, Bulls fans, but
no, they're 0-3 for a reason, and they're gonna win very few games this year. And
we gotta we'll keep an eye on the trade market from Markkanen or Levine or some of those guys with a little bit of some trade value. They may help a contender. We talked about the Mavs being aggressive. It wouldn't shock me at all to get, see Zach LaVine on the Mavs later in the season.
Mark Cuban, nothing Mark Cuban does shocks me.
Yeah. Or the Clippers, who knows what they're going to do. They have a pretty good team now. They got Serge Ibaka and they lost Harrell, but they got Lou. I mean, they could, they got money. They got deep pockets.
A lot of teams that are one piece away or that feel like they can just find that piece that can help them, put them over the top. I mean, come February is the trade deadline.
Yeah, so we'll see. It could be a lot of. That's one thing about the NBA always gets us ready for the Major League Baseball season, because there's news every day, there's lineups changes every day, there's games on every day, and so it kind of gets you out of that football mode of just checking maybe lineups on Thursdays and Saturdays or whatever. But fantasy players know you got to be on top of it every day in the NBA and the Major League Baseball. And we're going to talk about all that stuff coming up in the next following 2021. But
we get in the fantasy side of things and just talk about this, the excitement. And like you said, this is a great time. Football's starting to die down, and once you get to basketball, once that starts, and how we start to make lineups every day and doing research every day and keeping up on things every day, it's just fun. It's a fun time of year, and it'll take us right into that baseball season. So.
Yeah, and smack in the middle of that is maybe hopefully a little bit of March Madness, maybe the bubble madness.
Oh, absolutely, yep, definitely.
That'll be fun too. But good time for sports fans. But right now we're focusing on the NBA. We'll try to get back on it this week and do a show on the NFL with playoff prep. But it's NBA is a week into the season. We'll track some things and keep track of some trends, and hopefully have some good conversation. And like I said, we're brand new. I hope someone finds us. We'll send the link out to a couple of our friends maybe out there, and
let everybody know. If you guys, hopefully we'll be interactive here soon, to where you guys can send us questions, or we could do a lot of different things. We're looking 2021. We're really looking to get out there and get, do regular shows a couple times a week at least, and just have some fun with you guys, and
we'll put it out there. If there's any other podcast people who are local, who are starting off, who are already established, who just want someone to come on and guest, we'll work it out with you, or you can come on with us. We'll send you an invite, and we'll do a little 3-way video vlog here. And then, in the spring, hopefully we'll all be able to kind of meet up in person and do this a little differently. But
absolutely,
we don't want things to slow us down or stop us from the stuff we enjoy. A lot of sports talk, a lot of hanging out. But again,
so
check out our links. We'll go ahead.
Before we go here, let me just get your predictions. Let's go with the week into the season. Let me hear your predictions for NBA Finals. What you got?
All right, on the record. I think I'm gonna have to go Lakers. I'm gonna go with the team I saw, Lakers Bucks. You know what I mean? I gotta see. That's the matchup I want to see.
No, that'd be great. That'd be great. Yeah. I think that'd be fantastic. Yeah, no, I agree. Your boy Drew Holiday. Woo.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, who knows it? The Bucks aren't done yet either. But Giannis just signed that contract. I think the ownership and the fans are going to demand more help.
Absolutely. If they're a guy a piece away, they'll look for that piece. Whether they pick it from Chicago or wherever, they're going to, they'll do something. They'll make a move to try to get themselves over the top. I agree with you. For me, just from the games I watched early on, man, it's just so easy just to pick the Lakers and Nets. But I'm gonna have to do it. I feel like Brooklyn is, to me, I feel like they got the most talent for sure. As the season goes on, they're going to continue to get better. But barring any injury to Kyrie or KD, I'm gonna go take the easy route. I'm gonna go Lakers, Nets, and let's write that down now. And I just feel like they're just better than everybody else. I mean, Miami's still young. Miami's still young, and the bubble was different circumstances to me. I feel like not having the crowds, they're a young team. Not having, it's easy for a young guy to be in a hotel room and not having to worry about his family or what's going on, so I feel like there were special circumstances that helped them get to the finals. And I just feel like the Nets are a better team this year. And I feel like,
I think that's fair. I will say this though, the Heat and the Nets, when you put them on in a 7-game series, Steve Nash, a brand new coach. He has 2 superstar, all world players. He's gonna have to manage those personalities, those things.
Absolutely.
The Heat, the Bucks, they kind of know who the alpha is on that team. They got really good. Even if you want to throw Boston in there, they're well coached. Brad Stevens, Jason Tatum is that alpha of that team. They know who they're going to go to is. They know the hierarchy, and they've been there in some battles. 7-game series. Steve Nash, brand new. He knows a lot of basketball, but can he coach? I don't know.
You always almost got to give a rookie, especially a first time coach. You got to give him a year to understand that side of it, and not to mention he's dealing with 2 superstars, not just 2 all-stars. He's dealing with 2 superstars, and he was one at a time. So I'm sure he knows how to deal with them a little easier, but so I see what you're saying, but just to be a little different, just different than your pick. I'll just take the preseason favorites and just go Nets. So
hey, you know what? The fans would never be let down by KD, LeBron in the finals. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And you added in a little bit of Kyrie, LeBron, history. You add a little bit of the Lakers becoming defending champs. You add a little bit of that KD chip on your shoulder. Joined the best team in the West and got my championships that way. I'm gonna forge my own team with Kyrie. There's a lot of drama there. I mean, that series is a lot of background, and it'd be fun.
Absolutely.
But, as much as the bubble affected and helped the Miami Heat, I think it really limited the Bucks and what they could do in the bubble, and they suffered. I mean, I would think that the Bucks would have been in the finals if it was home court and everything stayed the way it was supposed to. I'd have a hard time believing the Bucks wouldn't have made it, but
Miami having to go there and beat them, absolutely, with the crowd and all that stuff, the traveling, it makes it a lot different. So it's definitely, like I said, it was definitely different circumstances, and it helped out in Miami's favor to an extent. So it's gonna be, like I said, it's gonna be a fun year, and I'm excited to watch it play out and talk with everybody about it as it plays out. And
there we go. We got our predictions on record. We're gonna write them down. And we're going to be the first ones. We talk a lot, and it's always fun, but we're always the first ones to point out the other person's mistakes. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So there's nothing wrong with that. As long as at the end of the day everybody's cool and chill about it, no one takes it personal.
It's all fun. It's all fun.
Yeah, you come back the next day and do it again, and that's what we're going to try to do here.
What we do. That's what we do.
We'll have a good podcast or video vlogcast or whatever you want to call it, but we'll just get some content out and hopefully connect with some people and see what we can come up with. So we'll probably a good time to wrap up the show there. And like I said, we'll try to get together again in a couple of days and go over the NFL, but enjoy the games tonight and through the week. And we'll put some links down to our Twitter, our Instagram accounts. YouTube hopefully is going to host this for us, and we'll get it out there.
We're coming for you guys. We're ready.
All right. Hey man, anytime ESPN you want to sign us or whatever, or Bill Simmons, we're here.
We got time. We got time.
Look us up. But we'll talk about contracts later on with the big dogs, and for now we'll keep it from the basement. So we'll leave it there, and we'll talk to everybody soon.
All right,
y'all. Peace.